Does anybody have something come to mind when I say correlation? Does anything come to mind? You guys ever heard the term correlation before? What does it roughly kind of mean? Anybody know? Have a guess?
They have an association.
I like it. Anyway, came back up. Anything else? An association between
Like
something.
similar things happen.
I like. It's like you're giving away the whole movie. Yes. So correlation is when two variables seem to be related somehow, possibly. So, for example, my very first. Well, let's see. Let's look at these examples. Can you guys see that all right? Do I need to turn the lights out a little bit? You guys all right? You guys have any opinion? Okay, some of you guys are like, yes, and that's what I'm going to go with. And you guys, oh yeah, you got this. Duh. So, if an entire class went out drinking, by the way, this is not a suggestion for an experiment, officially. So we have a 7 a.m. class, so we're living this possibly. Some of us has maybe lived this. I'm not going to confirm nor deny if I live this. But you go out drinking the night before 7 a.m. class and you have a test. And you kind of plot a point would mean, so what would this person right here, what's up with this person right there? Did they drink a lot?
No.
Relatively no. I don't give you a scale, which is a huge thing, but relative to the rest of the group, that person did not drink much. But how they do on the test?
Bad.
Bad, relatively bad. Again, you guys with me? So we don't have any scale, but oh well, too bad. But relatively to the rest of the group, they actually did the worst on the test, and they drank the second least, right? So that's the person, you know, I don't care how sober they are, they don't know their stuff. You guys with me? You guys all right? Yes, yes, yes? And then this person, what's up with this person? They drank the most, just barely the most, but they made like the second highest grade, right? So those are somebody that maybe doesn't get a hangover, they can hold their liquor, and they knew their shit. You guys with me? Which one of these relationships, so can you guys see, even if I take away these two, what's special about these two? Why did I point those out? Because relative to the data, those two are sort of outliers, kick ass. Even if I don't do this, but just to make it more obvious, can you guys see a trend in the data? Yeah, and it's the trend that you might expect would be there. Which one of these trends would you say is stronger? The first one or the second one?
Second.
The second one, because I got everybody pointing. I'm like, I can't. Right, the second one's obviously stronger. Why do you say it's stronger? What is it about it that means it's stronger? Not so spread out. See,
It's
in a line, it follows a line really well. Couldn't I, for both of these situations, couldn't you draw a line that's sort of an average of all the points? Does that even make sense if I say that? Try, go ahead, on your paper. And the first one. The second one's easy. So it's not even a challenge. I'll do the second one because, you know, I need help. Whoa. Yay, Jeff. This one, you can get a rough idea of where it would be. I would put something maybe right there. Two things about what I just did. It's not really straight, Jeff, but oh well. Pretend like it's a straight line. Why does it look like it's in a decent spot? Anytime I do try to draw a line that accomplishes what I just said is a graphical average of all the points, I almost always have to draw it at least twice. Because the first time I draw it, I can step back and go, oh, it's got to be a little down or a little bit tilted or, you know. That one actually, I got lucky on that one, I think. The hell, it looks pretty good. What is it about that makes it look pretty good besides, maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me why it looks horrible. Forgive me for the end there. Straight, oh shit. So don't look at it. Why does this look like it's okay? What is it about it? What is it trying to do? Okay, somebody knows the phrase, the best fit line, sure. That's great, you should read ahead, I love it. But like you said earlier, why was the second one stronger? Because they were more linear to begin with. All the points are really close to the line. So when I draw a line freehand, what I'm trying to do is get all the points to be as close to the line as they can be. Does that make sense? A little bit. All right. LA. And the funny thing, the official name, the official name is line of best fit, but there's a slightly more technical name for this. It's called the least squares line. Because what we do is we figure out the distances from the points to the line, and we try to get the squares of those to be the smallest they can be. Least squares line. Why does the square make sense? The same reason we had a square when we were doing standard deviation. Some are below and some are above. So least squares line is what this is also called. But line of best fit makes a ton of sense. Now, I realize that we live in California, right? And I didn't just realize that this morning. I know we do. But have you guys ever seen a hurricane chart? When there's a hurricane coming? There's a storm coming. And they have something like I lived in Florida and Virginia, so basically in Florida there was always tape on our windows forever. Virginia, one time I had to put my mattress up against one of the windows and blockade that, and we all just hunkered down. So hurricanes are fun, kids. So let's say I have alternate universe Florida. You put a little Okeechobee there so it looks a little bit, I don't know why we got extra land over here, but just deal with it. And we have this tornado coming. It's a twister, hurricane coming. And they always have this, I love this cone of uncertainty, right? Have you guys seen that? There's this big circle here, and they have this little line down the middle of it that's sort of like the average, the expected path. And this is like sort of like a two-dimensional standard deviation. So when you're saying this line looks to be the average, it's because it is in the middle of all the points. That's what an average is supposed to do. But then there's some spread to the data. Okay, so there's two things going on in this. I've got lines of best fit, and I've got this idea of how strong is the correlation. So I want to be able to calculate two things. What's the equation of that line? And is there a number we can create that tells me the strength of a relationship? Right? Not, boyfriend, girlfriend, too bad. But these kind of things. So which, like I said, this one would be stronger. And in fact, what kind of relationship is it? Positive or negative? Yeah, it's got a negative slope. As the number of beers goes up, the grades go down. So that's an inverse relationship. That's a negative relationship. As one increases, the other one decreases. Are you guys with a lot of this is kind of like is nice, common sense kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, well, I know this. Down here, let's do this one real quick. So that's beers versus grades. Something else that might affect your grade is how much you study. Right, so again, I've got I gave you some scale here, just, I don't know why. And I didn't even start at 0 because, I'm a dork. But when you do these these are called scatter plots. Does that make sense? Scatter plots. That's just scattered all over. And the more scattered they are, the less strong the linear correlation is. So again, which one of these, let me ask you this question. Which one of these is more realistic? First or the second? Second one's more realistic, right? For a couple reasons. I always have somebody tell me I studied for 8 hours, and then I ask them how they studied, and I find out they don't know how to study. So you basically did nothing for 8 hours, so you're not going to do all the tests. So hopefully by now you know how to study. Also, who's this guy? or girl? I can't tell. It's really too far away. Who's that person?
Person reading.
Outlier. How dare you? What did they study much?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh.
Try again. Did they study much?
Oh,
Nope. But they made a
Good grade.
relatively high grade, right? And you've all been in class, you might have been this person, that you barely have to crack the book and you're kicking the ass on the tests. Either you've taken the class for the third time, or it's just you know this shit, right? I remember the first math class I hit where I was like, oh shit, I gotta study. And you're like, shut up, Jeff. Go on. I'm a math teacher, what do you expect? That's my history. You guys have you hit that wall in something you love and you hit a class, you're like, whoa, I gotta actually study with this now. Have you guys done that? Yes? Okay. This person hasn't hit that wall yet in whatever class it is. What about this poor person? They studied supposedly a lot, but they made like the second lowest grade. Yeah. So again, so let me ask you, so this one's more realistic. This one's a stronger relationship. This time, what kind of relationship is it? Positive. I like it. See that line I just drew? I didn't do this on purpose, but I almost don't have to. Is it in a good spot? No, it could probably go where a little bit. I see. Okay, to the right or down? Okay, I'm with you. Either way you look at it, it's the same. Yes.
So why is the arrow going?
Say again, sorry?
Why is the arrow going down?
No. So how do you read in English? I know other cultures read this way, but we read this way. So the line is going up, right? So is that the question, or?
No, it's just
If you
in
went out
the other
and
class
over.
that the line goes upward.
I'm sorry, which one? Sorry.
Never mind.
Is all good?
Yeah.
Okay, so. All right. So the nice thing I think you're going to like about this, before I say what you're going to like about it, let me show what you would not like about it. These are my favorite equations. So you know it's going to be extra yummy. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Let's focus and make it really. Yeah. What do you guys think about that equation there? Can you even interpret what it would take to do? Look, so with sum of x we've done before. Sum of y, why does it make sense that there's x's and y's in this equation? How many variables are we studying in one of these? 2. For number of years, great. A number of hours studied, great. Right? Price of butter in Wisconsin versus the number of antelope deaths. There's a website called Spurious Correlations, which is kind of hilarious. There is a ton of accidental correlations that are sort of funny. And you can look it up if you want to, or you can just avoid it if you want to, either. Spurious correlations. The word spurious, I love the word spurious. Anyways, so we are not going to use this formula. Are you happy about that?
Yes.
Okay, good. This is the one chapter where I have no problem with letting the calculator do the bulk of the work. And you're all like, it's about damn time, Jeff. Holy shit. Right? So, does everybody have a calculator? Anybody need to borrow a calculator? Did I bring them? Yes. I've been carrying them around all morning. Which one do you want? What do you give me? Man, some of these already have some of the work in them. Should have paid more attention. You want this one? All right. No, you do. It's more than it currently has. What have I done? All right. Hopefully. Well, we'll find out. All right. So, if you look on the, well, let me finish this up real quick, and then we'll look on the back. Down here, I get into holy. Come on. There are two main things. Like I said, there's the strength of the relationship, which is called the correlation coefficient, or the Pearson product. You guys with me? That's the name of it. Doesn't really matter. It's the letter R, which is why I was trying to get you guys to draw sigma correctly, because R has its own meaning. That is the strength of the relationship. What should 0 mean? Inherently, what should 0 mean for that? If it's the strength of the correlation, what should 0 mean? No relation. Okay, there you go. Right? And then we go from there. So 0 means none. 1 means perfect positive correlation. -1 means perfect negative correlation. I guess it's this way for you guys. Yes, does that make sense? So that's why the formula looks a little bit more gross than maybe it could, because we try to scale it to fit there so it makes immediate sense. So what would perfect positive mean? What do you think? Perfect positive correlation. What do you think that would mean? Yeah, but it's perfect. So for example, is this pretty strong positive? Yes. Is it perfect?
No.
Because?
They're not all in a straight
There you
line.
go. They're not all on the line. So perfect positive would mean a bunch of points that are all on a line perfectly. How often does that happen in real life?
Never.
Never. There you go. If you did like the length of a fish as it grows over months, it would line up pretty well. But do you guys have anybody have kids? Or know somebody that has kids? You're all like, it's a little personal. I'm sorry. Have you ever seen the height and weight charts? And you can see what percentage. I love, one of my friends called this baby Max. And as Max grew, I'm like, wow, you named that kid right. He was like 95th percentile of height and the 80th percentile of weight. I'm like, this guy's raw. And he is, he's gigantic. But that, even with something that you think would be close to perfect, it's nowhere near close to perfect. But it does line up pretty strongly. So almost never do you get perfect correlation. So R equals 1 is perfect positive. R equals -1 would be perfect negative. So if you got like an R of 0.93, what do you think that would mean? If your R was 0.93. It's 0.93. Is much closer to what than it is to 0? Much closer to 1. So what do you think that would mean? It would be not perfect positive, but pretty
Positive correlation.
strong positive, right? Whereas if you got 0.4, that seems to be kind of weak positive correlation. Are you guys semi with me? Okay, maybe a little bit. Okay. So the second thing we're going to have to figure out is the line of best fit. And hopefully you guys remember a little bit about lines. What equations of lines do you guys remember?
Y equals mx plus b.
Who knows the other one?
Oh,
Not standard form, that's bullshit. I'll get it started.
Change of y
Y minus
O line
X.
x y minus x
minus
y.
X1.
And that the funny thing about this formula is that look vaguely familiar to anybody?
Yes.
This one's good if I know the y-intercept, because that's what b represents, is the y piece of the y-intercept. This one's good if I just know some other point, because x1, y1 is whatever point. And it makes sense. What do I need for a line? A starting place and a direction. Right? And then I can get a line. Kabam. So the equation has a starting place and a direction in it. What do I need for a circle? What's the two most important things about a circle?
Radius, diameter.
Radius and radius is twice the diameter, so that's, you already said the same thing twice.
Circumference.
Radius and
Center point.
center, because if I change the center but not the radius, isn't that circle in a different place? So in the equation of a circle, you would see the center point and the radius. It would be in the equation. Isn't that insane? Some of you guys hopefully have seen that before. If you've never seen it before, lines are just the beginning. the equations and math of graphical things have in them the most important geometrical parts of that graph. It's crazy. Anyway, I'll stop. I'm sorry. I've gone way over where I should. And you're all like, yeah, you always do. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. I might have given somebody, can you please just go ahead, well, I don't know. If you got a copy there for me, you might all have this shit in there already. But take a minute. On the back, this is actually from that calculator guide that's up on the website, that if you haven't printed off yourself, you're a little insane. First thing I want you guys to do is to put L1, L2. Put those two variables in. Just take a minute to do that.
How do you clear the things in it? Delete.
Highlight the list name and hit clear. Don't hit delete. Like this. So I'm going to clear this. Clear. You can almost see that even. There we go. So I'd hit clear. Not plus, Jeff. There. So I already have mine in there. I'm just really fast.
How do you get?
Do you ever want to sort these?
Yes.
Hell no. Never. Never sort, because that 0.5 has to go with that 98. Does that make sense? They are tied to each other. If you ever sort them, everything you do is going to be perfectly linear almost. You're going to artificially make everything a positive, strong relationship. That's crazy. What really sucks is if you get to the end of the second list and it's not as long as the first. You're like, oh shit. So I always about, not quite halfway down, I just take a second and make sure that whatever number I'm putting in the second list is with the correct one in the first list, you know what I'm saying? So I always know I'm on track as I'm going down. How you guys doing? Data entry, kids. It's always the funnest part, as evidenced by Abby's reaction. You're fine. I don't blame. It's early, and we're putting numbers in a calculator list. Almost too much excitement. All right, so how are we all doing, you guys? All right, still got it. You do want to make sure the lists are the same size, and you should end up, the last spot with something in it should be the 14th spot. 14 data points. What's up? I thought you were showing me the bottom. Like, what's going on with that? Okay, here we go. First thing we're going to do, let me actually do a little something because it's still got shit from yesterday. Okay. All right. First thing I want to do is plot those points. Just make a scatter plot. That's what I want to do. It's a graphing calculator. You're supposed to eat that shit up for lunch. Where do you guys go to put an equation in? Y equals. Look right above y equals. Holy shit, that sounds like I want to go there. It said seconds, y equals. Let's go there. Everybody do this. Everybody got to that list? Everybody with me? Hit number 4, enter. This is make sure we all do the same thing. I know, it's always anticlimactic when you tell it to do something. I did it.
Did you do this every time?
No. So everybody with me? So go back in. Second y equals, it should look just like this. You might not have little boxes there, but it doesn't matter. Right, plot 1 off, plot 2 off, plot 3 off. You with me? Now let's all select plot 1.
Mine?
Huh? What's up?
Oh.
Mine's off too. And now I'm going to turn it on. Bam! And make sure that you got scatter plot selected. Look at all the other, you could have made it, had make a histogram for you. Box plot. Aw, look how good that is to read the manual. Why didn't I let you do that? Because then you wouldn't have learned shit. But if you would have looked at the manual, you could have checked your shit. Anyway, too bad. Too late now, kids. Well, the final's coming, so hey, look into it. Everybody got that? Turn it on. Got the first one selected, scatter plot. Make sure you got L1 and L2 if that's where you put your data.
X, Y, Z. Yeah.
Huh? Is it good?
Yeah.
And then you can choose to be, I always choose to be a square, of course, because I just am. I can't, I'm a math teacher. You can be positive, you can be a big speck of dust or a small speck of dust in the universe. It's just what it's going to put on all the data points. The marks it's going to use. You can choose. And then for the newer calculators, you can choose what color. Maybe I'll try magenta today. Magenta. For the older calculators, it's not worth the money though, kids, don't worry. Okay. Now if I hit graph right now, I know if I hit graph right now, it's going to do what I want it to, because just give me a second. Okay. All right, now let me do it. All right, now pretend like all right. If I hit graph right now, some of you guys are going to get this. Some of you guys are going to get who knows what. It depends on whatever somebody else set it to look at. So now watch. Everything on the top row is about graphing stuff. I want to force the calculator to zoom in on my data. Hit zoom. Hit zoom. Graph is at the end. If you hit graph, you're going to get something weird. It doesn't look like a scatter plot. What's it say? No. What's it actually say?
Errors and
Syntax. Oh, and your y equals. Go make sure your y equals is all clear. Everybody else doing all right? Yes? No? What's up? Does it have an error? Is it something like syntax?
It was going.
Mismatch.
Dim mismatch. Oh, it sucks. Go to your lists. They're not the same size. You missed something. If you get an error, dim mismatch, that means your lists are not the same. Dimension mismatch. Syntax means go to y equals and make sure it's all empty. Somebody's got something weird in y equals. No, yes? Clear out whatever's not empty. Everybody else doing okay?
Why? How many times do you zoom in?
Wait.
Zoom.
Let me make sure everybody's with me. I haven't gotten anywhere past hitting the zoom button yet. Everybody else okay? I know, it doesn't matter. Your graph is going to look freaky. It doesn't have to look like mine did. Oh, I see. Look. Okay. See you're missing out one? Let me do something for you. If you hit setup editor, it takes it back to normal. If you move your L2 over to L1, watch it. Bam. And then you move your L3 over to L2. Bam. Because when you did step, you see how it's in L2. But you didn't have an L2, so it's freaking out. I mean, graph still doesn't look good, so now you're right with that. Everybody else. Everybody okay? Hopefully some of you guys, when you push the zoom button, you actually looked around and saw the button you want to push. Which button do I want to push? After you hit zoom, which one do I want to select?
Zoom in.
Zoom in.
No. What's the name of our course?
Stat.
Statistics. So probably the one that says zoom stat. Yeah?
Oh.
All right. Let's make sure you guys. Did you guys hit that button yet? What do you guys see?
Got it.
Everybody all right? We see.
It's okay if you need to move back there.
What's up?
It's all good if you need to move back there.
Oh, we're good. We're settled in. Thank you. Lights. This is like JetBlue. Everything's excellent. Oh, you need lights. There's got to be some extra. Overhead storage. Extra. Anyway, sorry. Does everybody love JetBlue? Shit. Sorry. Has everybody got this here? JetBlue airline? They make you pay for everything extra? No? Okay, screw it. Everybody has this picture? Everybody? Some of you are avoiding my gaze. It's not a test. It's just if you don't have it, I'm going to help you. It's amazing. Notice what I tried to do is to make like a kind of like a stretched out version of this. See that? Yes, yes, yes. So we're going to make the, so is this a strong relationship? No. So our R should be close to what? R should be close to 0. But it is roughly negative. So I expect it to be a small negative R value. Because it is a weak negative correlation. We just learned some of these words today, but I'm hoping you guys are with me on that interpretation. Okay. So we got this far. I still need to know what the line of best fit is, and then I want to plot that also. So here's where we go, kids. Go to stacked. Our data is in there, right? What is it that I want to make the calculator do now for me?
Give you the line.
It want it to create the line, calculate the line.
And you do all the answers.
So I want to go to calc, for calculate.
One more step.
And this is kind of a funny thing for me. TI is very protective of its hardwiring, its software. So they won't tell me why, but do you notice which one of those makes a line?
Lynn Red.
No way. And how many of them are there? And what's the only difference between the two stupid options?
A plus B.
What's the slope in this one?
A.
A. What's the slope in this one?
B.
B. So it's really stupid. I don't know if you guys understand. Always use 4. Just always use the first one. So let's try this out. Hit 4. L1, L2, right? If you have an older calculator and it just says linreg, you can hit enter because it defaults to list 1, list 2. Calculate. Not everybody's going to get as much as I just got. But you guys at least see A and B? Anybody not see R squared and R? Alright, here's what you do. Everybody else is okay? You at least got the A and the B, and some of you guys got the R squared and the R? Yes? Work with me. Technology Day is so exciting for me because somebody's going to be like, I lost you at like 30 minutes ago. Shit. Okay. Okay. So let me get everybody, if you, yes. Oh, it says L2, L3. Is that what your data is? L1 and L3?